overall, very entertaining boxing night. It was a lot of fun. Not gonna lie, I hadn't had that much fun watching a boxing match in a while, and I think it had to do a lot with Ryan Garcia, his shenanigans, him like taunting his opponent, him celebrating after knocking him down like prematurely, doing all this the whole show. It was fun. It was entertaining.
I'm on big dog timing, and I'm bringing attention. Holler at me face to face. I don't check my mentions. When I slide, no sudden moves. All my goons are stretching, and I'm taxing for the feet.
What a weekend in sports. The NBA playoffs start. The Lakers lose the first game to the Nuggets. We'll touch on that. The takeaways from game 1. Game 2 is today on Monday. Also, Ryan Garcia defeats Devin Haney in a very, very entertaining match. Everyone counted out Ryan Garcia, but he shows up. His left hand, strong as ever, dominates that match, knocks him down for the first time in his career. Very, very entertaining match. Also, Real Madrid beat Barcelona in El Clasico 3-2. Very entertaining Clasico. There were some controversies that we'll touch on, but overall it was a great match, coronating a great season by Real Madrid in La Liga, and this pretty much clinches it with 6 games left, I believe. 11-point lead by Real Madrid. It should be enough for Real Madrid to win La Liga. And to wrap it up, Ruud wins the Barcelona Open, his first ATP 500 tournament after only winning 250s. Good for Ruud. We'll touch on that. All of that on this episode of the Hearts Handle Sports Podcast. Let's get started. Hala Madrid, Hala Madrid, así gana el Madrid, así gana el Madrid. Real Madrid beat Barcelona 3-2 in a very, very entertaining match, I do have to say. Shout out to Barcelona for putting up a fight, coming to the Bernabeu, and, giving us an entertaining match. But in the end, Bellingham scores the winner. Lucas Vazquez scores a beautiful match, a beautiful goal, a beautiful play to earn a penalty, and he gets an assist. Lucas Vazquez always puts in performances, whether it's Champions League, whether it's going to take penalties, coming in as a sub as a winger earlier in his career, now being a right back. He always puts in great performances. But overall, it was a very, very, very entertaining El Clasico. I think El Clasico has kind of lost a lot of its star power and allure ever since Messi and Ronaldo left. But this one lived up to the billing. It was entertaining, from Barcelona taking an early 1-0 lead. I actually went to watch the match at the Real Madrid bar in San Francisco, across the street from Oracle Park. It was very, very full. I was trying to find a table. I got there a little late. I was trying to find a table, scouting the area, and I was still looking for a place to sit potentially, and Barcelona scored a goal 1-0. I didn't really even get to see it that well because I was trying to hunt down a spot to sit. But all is well. Beautiful Lucas Vazquez play. He did fall, he did look for the penalty. He did ask, questions from the defender, and it was a soft pen, I do have to say. But I've seen a lot of people comparing it to the penalty against Saka, and although I see why they would do it, because both players stick their leg out, I think one is more of a penalty, like it's way more of a penalty than the other. Vazquez left foot actually makes contact with the Barca's defender's foot, and then he sticks out his right foot to get even more contact. So both of his feet make contact with the Barcelona player. In the Saka one, he completely stretches his leg out looking for contact. Whatever, soft pen. There's a lot of soft pens that get given out. All I have to point out is Messi's Argentina's penalties. Every single one in the World Cup was a super, super soft. So, soft pens get called all the time. Sometimes they hurt your team. Sometimes they help your team. The goal that they took away from Barcelona, it didn't count. It didn't cross the line. VAR checked it. It didn't cross the line. There's been multiple TV stations, Being and some other one, that said that they used their technology and it looked like it didn't cross the line. So it is what it is. It didn't cross the line on VAR. Other TV networks, French TV network that has no connection to Madrid, has even said that they use their technology. It doesn't look like the ball crossed. So, go cry me a river. It is what it is. It didn't cross. It didn't cross the line. So you can't get a goal if it doesn't cross the line. Obviously there's some angles that make it look like it did, but if you know anything about soccer or football, you know that there's been a lot of controversies. Just look at Japan versus Spain in the World Cup. The assist, it looked like the ball was out. They took an aerial look at it and it was in. There's a lot of times where that happens, where the ball looks like it's out, but it's actually in. So it is what it is. They checked it. They went to VAR. They said no pen, so no pen. But yeah, Hala Madrid, what a week, defeating Man City in the Champions League, eliminating them. I mean, it goes down as a tie because it went to penalties, but eliminating Manchester City in the penalties, the reigning champions of a Champions League, winning a Clasico. Atletico Madrid go down in the Champions League. Barcelona go down in the Champions League. Beautiful week. To be honest, there's some Madrid fans that get a lot of joy out of the other teams falling out, but me not so much. Like, I mean, I'm more happy that Madrid beat Man City. Like, yeah, Barcelona and Atletico Madrid losing, it's like a little added bonus just to talk shit to the fans and stuff like that. But it doesn't really move my needle too much. Like, I'm not overly happy. Like, it wouldn't, if Real Madrid would have lost, it wouldn't really have softened the blow for me. It would hurt if they go on and win it, but it's not that important to me. Like, whatever they do, as long as Real Madrid is doing good, I don't really care. They could all go to the semifinals and finals and just lose to Madrid. I don't really care what round they lose in, but still added positive that it all lined up in 1 week. It was pretty fun. But man, just got to give Ancelotti props. The man is always cool as ever. Even if you look at his reaction to Bellingham's winner, everyone's running out. You see Vini coming out of the bench, running towards the celebration. You see Rodrigo coming right behind him. You see all the trainers ready to hug someone, ready to hug Ancelotti. And Ancelotti just cool as ever. Turns around, paces a little bit, looks around, starts talking to his players about like what to do next. Like, man, Ancelotti just seems like a very relaxed, in the moment dude. Like, he seems, it's all these years of experience of being a manager, and it's also like who he is. I think like that's just his personality. Very even keel, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. I'm so glad he re-signed with Madrid. I'm so glad he's not going to the Brazil national team, which would have been cool to see him coach Vini and Rodrigo and Casemiro maybe in the national team. But I'm more than happy to keep him here in Madrid. But going forward, it does look like Madrid is going to win La Liga, 11 points with, I believe, 6 games left. 11-point lead with 6 games left. I think that should be enough to get it done. So now let's see if Madrid could get the double. They got Bayern away and then Bayern at home in the semis, and then maybe PSG or Dortmund in the final if they get through. I think it's definitely doable. I think if we get the double, it'll be a very good season. And I do have to say this, because Bayern Leverkusen is having a great year. They might get the treble, but it'll be the Europa League treble. They might win the cup. They already won the Bundesliga, and they'll win Europa League. So people are like, how should we rate that treble compared to like a Champions League treble? And although it is a treble and it's a European treble, because it is Europa, I would rate it obviously lower than the Champions League treble, but I would also rate it lower than a Champions League double if it's the league. If it's the cup, I don't think maybe, because Champions League just has so much cachet that it supersedes almost anything. But for surely it's more a Champions League and your domestic league. I would rate it higher than your domestic league, your domestic cup, and Europa. Because at that point, you both won the league, so you could kind of cancel those out. And then would you rather have a Champions League, or would you rather have Europa League and your domestic cup? And I think for me, it's pretty easy. It's Champions League. Now, if you want to do domestic cups, cancel out, and now you're left with League and Europa versus Champions League, then I think it becomes a little more close. League and Europa League against Champions League, but I think I would lean Champions League, not gonna lie. Well, I mean, that's a question for people that are here. If you guys want to chime in on that, would you rather win a treble with Europa or a league Champions League double? And then the next question is Europa League treble or a double with a cup, your domestic cup and a Champions League. I think I would lean Champions League almost every single time if the treble involves Europa League, but that's just me. As a Madrid fan, we're the kings of Europe. It's our league. It's our tournament. I might be biased, but I'm interested to hear what people think. It's definitely a topic. I think it's pretty clear Champions League, but I can see why you would argue something else, especially if you haven't won the league in your whole history, or if you haven't you haven't won it in like 30 years or something like that. Like it might have a lot of importance. But back to Madrid, great season. La Liga is almost there. I think like in 2 more games, it could be mathematically done. It's pretty much done. I think 2 more games, or if they drop a couple more points, then it could be over. But finish strong, Madrid, and hopefully, I'll do a topic against Bayern before that gets closer. But Hala Madrid. Ryan Garcia, man. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna front. I don't watch boxing like that. I'm not a big avid fan of boxing, especially lately with all the influencers, the YouTubers, the TikTokers, the ex-NFL players. Like when I saw that with like Frank Gore and the other point guard from Brooklyn, I forgot his name, were like boxing, and Nick Young and all this other stuff, Jake Paul and all those Paul brothers, everyone just got into it. I was like, okay. We knew boxing was kind of heading on the downturn, but now with all of this, it just all seems like a huge cash grab for influencers to get in the ring, collect some money. I think it started with Mayweather doing that fight against Paul, one of the Paul brothers, but now it's just really spiraled into a place I don't really like where boxing's at. But I must say, with that being said, with all that preface, Ryan Garcia fight against Devin Haney was super entertaining. It was exciting from like the first 30 seconds. Ryan Garcia got a punch in there, rattled him, and it was a show. From that moment on, it was a show, because I was watching the lead up, I was watching the undercards, I was watching the other main event, and anytime they started talking about the Garcia fight, anytime they started talking about Haney and the lead up, and they started showing clips of Ryan Garcia, and they were selling the fight to the crowd, or like the viewers, whoever's watching, they were like building the storyline basically for the main event and letting you know what the lead up was. All the pundits, all the announcers, all the commentary was Ryan Garcia is gonna get cooked. Betting is so huge nowadays. They kept showing the numbers, they kept showing the splits, they kept asking the question, is there any way Ryan Garcia wins tonight? They kept asking like whoever the person that was getting interviewed, or whoever the analyst that was talking, that would ask him like, oh, Johnny, do you see a way that Ryan Garcia could win? Absolutely not. There's zero way that he could win. He's just not disciplined enough. Devin is too disciplined. Like he'll wear him down, and like, me as someone that doesn't watch boxing too much, I grew up watching it with my dad. I would watch it in the Spanish, Mexican channels. They were a little behind, but it was still cool to see it. But anyways, I know little boxing, not too much, but they would be like, oh, what does Ryan Garcia have going for him? He's like, well, he's taller than him, he's longer than him, he's quicker than him, and he has more of a knockout punch than Devin. And then I'm in my head, I'm like, damn, he got a lot going for him. And then they were like, yeah, but like, he's not disciplined. He didn't make weight. It doesn't seem like he's taking this fight seriously. So there's no way. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, even with all that, you just listed a very 4 pivotal important skills. Taller, longer. He has more strength in his power punch, and he's quicker. Like what? He's always gonna have a chance if you have all 4 of those. you're gonna have a small chance. So for them to just go on a limb and just be like, there's 0% chance after listing those four qualities that they were saying that Ryan Garcia was better. Not me saying that. They were saying that, and they were like, no shot. I was like, I don't know, man. It might be time to put a little 20 on this. If they're listing, he's quicker than him, he's stronger than him, he's taller than him, he's faster than him, he's heavier than him. Like, what? That should at least give him like 5-10% if he's all of those things. But they were like, nah, Devin is one of the most disciplined boxers out there. He's super focused. He's no shenanigans. Look at Ryan Garcia playing the violin before the match. Or not playing the violin, but having like someone do this classical music in his locker room. He's just not a serious guy. Like, there's no way. Like, he didn't take this seriously. He's a little cuckoo. All of that gone in the first 30 seconds of the match. The announcer switching up. And if he is gonna have a chance, it's with the left. Like, they switched up. I forgot what the commentary was after the first 30 seconds, but it was something along those lines. Like, but there it is, the left hand, like the left hook. If he uses that, he has a chance. And man, he had him shook. I'm not gonna lie. Devin Haney did work himself back the next couple rounds into the match. He got a little bit of rhythm. The announcers were starting to, glaze him up a little bit. They were like, oh, now he got in the rhythm. He's a rhythm boxer. Like, now, like, Ryan Garcia should have pounced on him when he had a chance. Now that Devin Haney is caught a rhythm, it's going to be hard to get him out of it. Like, he's a rhythm boxer. Like, you don't want to let him get into the rhythm. Boom. Knocks him down again. And then, the ref was atrocious. He took a point deduction from Garcia without giving him a warning. He was letting Devin hug a lot. It was messy performance by the ref. But in the end, Ryan Garcia gets a dub. A lot of people don't claim him Mexican, but he is Mexican. At the end of the day, if Chivas could claim Cowell as Mexican, Ryan Garcia is for surely Mexican. But anyways, it was a great match. Ryan Garcia shut up a lot of people, and I think the best part, other than all the knockdowns and Ryan Garcia, damn near breaking his jaw. I don't know if he actually did or not. It was one of the reports that he might have broken Devin Haney's jaw. One of the best things that resulted from this match is just the trolling that Ryan Garcia has done post match has just been amazing. He's winning the internet right now. There's a lot of memes. I would suggest to go follow him on Instagram or on Twitter if you want to watch it, if you want to get a little laugh. And like he said, don't take him too seriously. The man's joking. He was joking after the match. He was doing his little funny celebrations. I think sometimes people take people too seriously. Obviously, I was kind of one of those people, not too much, but I was like, damn, this fool might have CT already. But, I don't know if he does. I don't know if he already has it or not, but he might just be an enigma. He's just might be, one of those people that are just overflowing with personality. People always usually say like, oh, this guy has a lot of personality, and they use it like in a good way. Like, the personality means like they're bubbly or they're super outgoing and fun in a positive way. You can have a lot of personality and just be like kind of like a dick or something. Kind of like just be annoying. You could have a lot of personality and just be annoying and be like too much. He might be autistic now and think about it, or he might be serious. He might actually have ADHD, but he's a whole show. He's a whole show. He definitely brings eyes to the sport, and he's not an influencer. Like, people want to call him a Instagram boxer, and they want to call all of that, but he's a boxer. He grew up boxing. He broke into the pros super young. He was one of the next promises of Mexican boxers, and he's a real boxer that brings attention to the sport. I think it's good for boxing. With all the shenanigans, it's good for boxing because I think we want to move away from all these influencer boxing matches as the biggest grabs, as the biggest, money bags in the sport. Like, you don't want that to be the highlight of a boxing year. Some influencer boxing another influencer. Or some influencer fighting Mike Tyson. We don't. Those are fun sometimes here and there. They're cool, but we don't want those matches to be the big ticket matches of the year. We need actual boxers to get the spotlight, get the big payouts, get all that stuff. We need that to happen so the sport could be in a boom again. Overall, very entertaining boxing night. It was a lot of fun. Not gonna lie, I hadn't had that much fun watching a boxing match in a while, and I think it had to do a lot with Ryan Garcia, his shenanigans, him like taunting his opponent, him celebrating after knocking him down like prematurely, doing all this the whole show. It was fun. It was entertaining. In a cross-sport comparison, I could kind of say he reminds me of Nick Kyrgios. Maybe a little crazier than Nick Kyrgios, which is saying a lot, especially the way people look at Nick Kyrgios. But I think overall they're good for the sport. It's good. It's good for the sport. Let's embrace it. But shout out Ryan Garcia. Shut a lot of people up, including myself. Also, I got to thank Ryan Garcia for cheering me up a little bit, because his match started after the Lakers match. So just want to quickly start off my Lakers segment by saying thank you to Ryan Garcia for cheering me up after the Lakers defeat of Game 1. I was pretty down. I got on my high horse on TikTok. If you don't follow me on TikTok, follow me on TikTok. I said Lakers in 6. I put it on TikTok with my whole heart. I believed it. I really, in my fibers, I thought it to be true. And after the first quarter, I was like, here we go. We haven't beaten them in 8 games, but this is going to be it. This is going to be it. We're up 12-14. First quarter, LeBron and AD are balling. Like right now, the rest of the supporting cast is going to catch up to them. And obviously, I never thought we were going to coast to the victory, but I was like, we could keep this up. There's a real chance that we steal Game 1. And then we're sitting pretty, something changed from last year. Just with one win, you could already feel that something changed because we got swept last year. But then Denver closed out the half on a sick one. LeBron scores a 3 to give us a 3-point lead at halftime. Calm the storm a little bit. Maybe let us recoup at halftime and be like, you know what? We're going to need the rest of the cast. Step it up. But they really let go of the rope in the third quarter. They're not able to catch up in the fourth. Game, set, match. Or game. Maybe set. Not match yet. There's still 6 games left potentially. If you're a Laker fan, there's 4 things that should concern you. I tweeted them on my Twitter, Hard to Handle Sports. Follow me on that too. There's 4 things that should concern you from this match, from this game. LeBron James looked tired in the fourth quarter, and you could damn near say he looked tired in the second half. And he also looked tired against the Pelicans in the playing game, after he had looked very fresh ending the season. That was one of the things that Laker pundits were saying. LeBron looked fresh as ever. This is the freshest that he was going into the postseason since the bubble. But he looked tired against the Pels at the end of the game. And he definitely looked tired against the Nuggets, in my opinion. He wasn't really scoring points. He wasn't attacking the rim as hard. He missed some layups that he should have been scoring. I think that's because of fatigue. So that's a concern. We played on Saturday. We played today on Monday. 1 day in between. And then we play again on Thursday. So when they switch cities, I think there's 2 days in between. So, we'll see how he feels today on Monday after 1 day of recovery. But that's something to keep an eye on. LeBron tiring out as the game goes on. He looked fresh to end the season, but he might be feeling his legs right now. Second thing is D'Lo and Austin Reeves need to score more. There's no way. D'Lo had a press conference and he said he's not worried. I was worried. Not gonna lie, D'Lo being that calm and that composed in that press conference calmed me down a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe he's just selling it and he doesn't even believe it. But hopefully he really feels that way and he's going into Game 2 calm and collected. Because if he doesn't, we're gonna ship him out. But hopefully he is. He's calm and collected because he shot 1 for 9. Reeves shot 2 for 6. I think they combined 3 for 15 from 3. So, or something along those lines. And you can't have that. You need D'Lo, Reeves to give you at least 30 points combined on good splits. At least 45% shooting, 35, 38 from 3. If they give you like 35 points combined, then you have a chance. The third thing to be concerned about is that they were killing us on the offensive boards. They're big. Nuggets are tall. They have Michael Porter Jr., who's tall. They have Nikola Jokic, and they have Gordon, who could all go get boards. And their guards rebound pretty decently too. So they had 15 offensive rebounds, I believe. The league leading Knicks, I believe, led the league with 12 offensive rebounds a game. And they got 15 on game one. So I think they averaged 10 the whole season. So 5 above. They got 150% production from the regular season against us. Can't happen. They need, especially if we're not going to get offensive rebounds ourselves, we for surely have to stop them from getting their own offensive rebounds. Like, that just can't happen. That's another one. Another key pivotal disadvantage. And fourth, probably the scariest one, is that the Lakers lost by 11. Jamal Murray shot 37, I believe, percent from the field, and he only had 22 points. So Jamal Murray, under 40% shooting, only 22 points, and the Nuggets won by 11. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for me, who said Lakers in 6. It's not a good sign. So with all that being said, if these two things happen out of the 4, I think we have a shot. If LeBron's not completely tired in the fourth quarter, and if Russell and Austin Reeves give us, a good spark, then I think we could steal game 2. Even if Jamal Murray plays good or better than he did in game 1, and even if we give up, some offensive rebounds here and there, I think it really comes down to what we can do. If LeBron could stay, if his legs could hold up and he's not completely gassed in the fourth quarter, and if Reeves and Russell have a good game, we'll be there at the end of the match. We'll be there. So hopefully we're there, because, man, I want the Lakers to make it a series. And everyone doesn't think we can make it a series. Obviously, we've lost 9 in a row. If you're not a Laker fan, there's not many reasons for anyone to really believe in the Lakers. But come on, Lakers, let's do it. Let's talk about Casper Ruud now. Casper Ruud finally wins a ATP 500 tournament. He defeats Tsitsipas in the final of the Barcelona Open. And, I just want to give him his flowers. I just want to come here and give him his flowers. He's lost Roland Garros final. He's lost the US Open final. He had a chance to be the number 1 in the world. Myself, personally, have definitely clowned on Casper Ruud. I said it would be a black mark on tennis history if Casper Ruud would have won that US Open, or if it broke the way it broke. Like, I think if he won the semifinal and someone else lost, he was going to be the number 1 player regardless of what happened in the final. I'm pretty sure that's how it was going to work out. And I was just like, that would be a black mark on tennis history if Casper Ruud could say that he was the number 1 player in the world at some point without winning any slams, without doing anything. Like, it would have been a black mark on tennis history. And, in the internet, on Reddit, on YouTube, people call him 250 merchant, small. He could win any 250, it's his favorite tournament. He's the king of the 250, but 500s, Masters 1000s, slams, he's just not built for it. And, I kind of, I'm not going to lie. I said, I kind of agreed with that. Or I agreed with that. And I said, yeah, he's too nice. Everyone says he's like one of the nicest on tour. He doesn't have that killer instinct. He lacks, the big weapons to beat the bigger players in finals and stuff like that. And he's not he's quick. He's not overly fast. Like, no one would ever compare him to like an Alcaraz or something like that, or a Deminar. Like, no one would ever make that comparison. But he's disciplined and he's consistent, and he's not the most fun player to watch on tour, but he's super consistent. He's even keeled. He doesn't let his emotions run high and low, and he goes deep into tournaments. That's why he's been a consistent, top 12, top 10 player these last few years. He was like number 2 for a while too. He was top 5 for a while. Like, as much as people want to clown on him for not winning the big tournaments and, not being the most entertaining player, no one could deny that he's a good tennis player. Like I said, he is just really solid at a lot of things. He might not be amazing at anything, but he's like really, really good at a lot of things. And out of all those players that aren't that fun to watch and they're just really good at multiple things, he's the best one out of those. Like, I'm thinking about like Nori and other players like that just, don't really incite the crowds and don't really have a large fandom per se. No one's rushing to go see them at tournaments like the big ones, like Masters 1000s. Even when they have a high ranking, they're not really getting put on the big court, on court 1. They're kind of getting put on court 3, 4, 5. If they play one of the big guys, then they'll be on court 1. Out of all those guys, he's like the most consistent one. I don't think he's ever going to be more popular than like Zverev. I mean, maybe Zverev because he has all those off the court issues and stuff that he has to get going, but like Tsitsipas, like Alcaraz, Sinner, obviously those guys are like, now they're getting into a different class, but like Medvedev, yeah, he's like people always rate those guys above him. But I love Tiafoe, and I would say Casper Ruud is easily better than Tiafoe. He's more consistent. He's definitely more consistent than Taylor Fritz. He has had a higher ranking. He's gone further on slams, even hard court slam, which is supposed to be Taylor Fritz's strength. I don't think Taylor Fritz has ever even made a quarterfinals. All that with that being said is that, maybe I was a little wrong to criticize Casper Ruud. I should have gave him credit for all he's accomplished with all those limitations that he has. Because like I said, he's not like amazing at anything. He's amazing on clay though. I will say that. He's one of the best clay players out there. But he just gets a lot of... He does a lot with what he has. And I don't want to take a shot against him. He's also super talented. And he's really, really good. But I'm just comparing him like with his own class. Obviously, I'm not comparing him with like, out of the top 50 or all the other players. I'm saying with like the top 10. Like, I'm comparing him to the top 10 players. Not like top 20, not top 30. Obviously, compared to those guys, he's better than them. He has weapons and stuff like that compared to those guys. I'm talking more in the top 10 area. If you compare Ruud to the top 10 guys, they probably have more top end talent at certain spots. With that being said, he won his first 500 in Barcelona, so I gotta give him credit for that. And also, I could see Casper Ruud winning a slam. Namely Roland Garros, because he has gone to finals at that one. Especially once Djokovic gets out and Nadal gets out, which Nadal, he's on his last legs right now. But once Djokovic and Nadal gets out, it'll just be people in his generation, Sinner, Alcaraz, maybe Rune, Deminar, those guys, people in his gen, and those new young guys, Rune, Alcaraz, Sinner, whoever, Nakashima. I like him in that field more than I like him right now, because right now with Djokovic and even like a couple years back with Nadal on the field, like Nadal beat him in the Roland Garros final, I don't think he has the weapons to beat those guys like Nadal and Djokovic and stuff like that, and Alcaraz. But he could beat the other guys. The way he could beat the top 10 is by tiring them out, being super consistent, getting in their head, letting them make their own mistakes, which you can't really beat Nadal and Djokovic like that because they're so locked in and they're so great. Like, they've won 20 plus Grand Slams. You're not gonna win a match by making them make mistakes or by being super consistent. They're gonna beat you. But you could definitely beat, if you were, once Nadal and Djokovic get out of there, if you end up in a final against Zverev, Tsitsipas, those guys, Medvedev even, you could work those guys. You could definitely just be super consistent and just let them fall apart. They're not the same. They're not the same level mentally. And the young guys could duke it out. We'll see how the young guys are in their head. Alcaraz has shown sometimes he could get a little erratic too. He could do a little too much stuff on the court. He doesn't pace himself well. He gets a little too tired. He cramps up. He goes for every point. He doesn't know how to take care of his energy as wisely as he should. So I could definitely see him win a slam once those guys are out. Obviously, by that point, there'll be more talent coming in, and we'll have to judge him again at that point. But props to him for winning. Props to him for winning his first 500. We'll see if he gets 1,000 next. We'll see if he keeps going deep in slams. But if you're a Ruud fan, I know you're happy today, and I'm happy for the guy. Not gonna lie, he's a good guy. Everyone says he's super nicest guy on the tour. And he always has good things to say about my GOAT, Rafa Nadal. So if you're a fan of Rafa Nadal and you show respect and you talk good about him, you're gonna be on my good side, and I'm always gonna, for the most part, talk good about you. So shout out to Casper Ruud for winning Barcelona 2024. And that should do it for this episode of the Hard to Handle Sports Podcast. As always, I appreciate you so much if you made it to the end, or if you listened to any part of this podcast. If you like it, or if you want to continue to listen, subscribe, like the channel, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Have a great rest of your day. Lakers in 6. Peace. When I slide, no sudden moves. All my goons are stretching. And I'm taxing for the feet on my damn collections.